we feel triple talaq will definitely fetch in a Muslim woman also. That is also important. And other things, foreign issues like Ukraine and Russia issue, when our children were in Ukraine and Russia, they fought safely. That is also important. And regarding growth, economic growth, earlier we were in 10th position. Now we are in 5th position. So I hope if Modi again comes, definitely we will be in 2nd or 3rd position. So we are seeing so many channels like that. So that is more and more important, Modi. And all are, I request all the intellectuals who are here, please, only 2 days are there. 17 constituencies are fighting neck and neck. Definitely will win most of the seats. And I thank each and every member who are here for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
ధన్యవాదాలు. ఇప్పుడు మన చీఫ్ గెస్ట్తో పాటు రామచంద్రరావు గారు ఉన్నారు. ముందు రామచంద్రరావు గారు ఎక్స్ ఎమ్మెల్సీ గారు, ఫార్మర్ బార్ కౌన్సిల్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా మెంబర్, సీనియర్ అడ్వకేట్, విల్ అడ్రస్ ది గ్యాదరింగ్.
Respected Chief Guest of the day, Dr. Vinay Sahasrabudhe, former Member of Parliament, Rajya Sabha, the President of the program, Sri Gokul Ramarao, Member Bar Council, Sri Sunil Gaud Garu, our Vice Chairman of the Bar Council of Telangana, Prakash Babu, Rajvardhan Reddy, who is the President of the Metropolitan Criminal Courts Bar Association, and then Krishna, and Sunil, and member of the media, the elites of the Hyderabad city, advocates, chartered accountants, and IT professionals, doctors who are present here. I welcome you all for this a talk on India's development during Amrit Kal. India has attained independence, 75 years are over. Now, what are the strides which India has taken during last 10 years? Sri Vinay Sahasrabudhe he will be giving us an account of all the development activities and other issues relating to the nation's development. Friends, you all know that today we stand at a position where the country is witnessing a fierce battle between the nationalists and others who oppose the idea of nationalism. In fact, why I am provoked to say this is that just 2 days back, one of the Congress leaders, who is supposed to be the think tank of the Congress party and also international chairman, he gave a statement that Indians, they are not homogeneous, they are heterogeneous. The North Indians are whites, the South Indians are coming from Africa, and the western Indian part of the country are like Arabs, and eastern from China. And this is a description given by a congressman about the great country which we believe that India is one right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and Assam to Ahmedabad. Such a shameful act by a person belonging to 100 India's grand old party, but still no action on him. Friends, this is the mindset of certain politicians in the country that has we remember that India was known as a land of bold. Under PL 480, we used to get a lot of foreign aids and other assistance. But today, we are proud that India is in a situation to give aids to many other countries, not only the financial aids, but also the COVID vaccine has been supplied to nearly more than 100 countries. And that is today the India's development. We lived so far in a very colonial India. The mindset of colonialism was still prevailing on our minds. Be it Luthians in Delhi, or be it urban exiles, or be it so-called pseudo-seculars of this country, who are all, they are not coming out of the colonized thinking. So therefore, the decolonization was required. And under this process, because a lot of advocates are here, I would like to tell them that the process of the decolonization has started with our foreign policy. I earlier also told, and once again I repeat, that earlier when people used to, ambassadors and others used to visit our country, they were welcomed by presenting them the image of Taj Mahal, which is nothing but a graveyard, a symbol of graveyard. But now, after Modi ji had come, I request Sudhakar Gandeji to kindly take his receipt. Now, after so much of years, we are seeing that today when any foreign ambassador comes, a foreign leader comes to our country, our leaders are presenting them with Bhagavad Gita, and that is the change which we are seeing in the country. Not only that, the decolonization has started with many policies, with the foreign policies, and for advocates who are here and for the legal system, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita was brought. And that is the first step towards the decolonization of the legal system. We were following the same legal system, legal act which were enacted during the 18th century, 19th century. And from time to time they were being amended. But altogether now we have got a new laws before us. So therefore these are something which are to be discussed definitely. We are in Amrit Kal now, 75 years. And I'm sure, definitely, we all will be knowing, we are eager to know what has happened after this Amrit Kal and during the Amrit Kal. And Mr. Vinay Sahasrabudhe, Dr. Vinay Sahasrabudhe, whom I know him since my student days. He was, in those days, the Akhila Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad used to publish a magazine called Chhatra Shakti and Student Power, and he was the editor of it. He is a very learned man, a think tank of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and he has been member of the Rajya Sabha, and he has been a very inspiring and guiding force of many youngsters in the country while he was working in Akhila Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad. We are really privileged to have you, sir, with us, and I'm sure the gathering which is here, majority of whom are advocates, doctors, and IT professionals, would be benefited with your talk, and definitely that particular theme will be percolated at the ground level so that people will realize that what India has achieved during the last 10 years, what it could not achieve during the last 55 years of one-party rule. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Sri Sunil Garu, Dr. Sunil Garu, MD physician. I request him to please address them.
Good morning, everybody.
దయచేసి ఇక్కడ వాటర్ గిట్ట సప్లై చేస్తుంది, డిస్టర్బెన్స్ అవుతుంది. మీటింగ్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత సప్లై చేయండి వాటర్.
Good morning, everybody. Today we have our chief guest, Dr. Vinay Sahasrabudhe in our forum, Intellectuals Meet. Especially, I would like to tell you about why Abki Bar 400 Par. అబ్కీ బార్ 400 పార్ ఎందుకంటే మనకు ఇప్పుడు కాంగ్రెస్ 65 ఏండ్లు ఏమి చేసింది మనకు మా కంట్రీలో అంటే డెఫినెట్లీ చేసింది. అండ్ ఎవరి గురించి చేసిందంటే ఇప్పుడే నేను అది మీకు చెప్తాను అన్ని. ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ ఈ కాంగ్రెస్ అనేది మన ముస్లిం బ్రదర్స్కి ఆర్టికల్ 370 అనేది కాశ్మీర్లో ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేసింది. స్పెషల్లీ వాట్ ఇట్ హ్యాస్ డన్ ఫర్, ఇట్ ఈస్ ఫర్ ఓన్లీ ముస్లిం బ్రదర్స్ ఓన్లీ, నాట్ ఫర్ హిందూస్ ఎనీమోర్. సో ఐ వుడ్ లైక్ టు సే మైనారిటీ ఇట్ హ్యాస్ మేడ్ మైనారిటీ బిల్స్ ఒకటి. తర్వాత ఇట్ హ్యాస్ క్రియేటెడ్ వక్ఫ్ బోర్డ్ స్పెషల్లీ ఫర్ ముస్లిమ్స్. అండ్ ఇండియా వాజ్ పార్టిషన్డ్ బికాస్ ఓన్లీ ఆన్ ద రిలీజియస్ గ్రౌండ్స్ వేర్ అవర్ 30% ఆఫ్ ద ల్యాండ్ హ్యాస్ బీన్ గ్రాబ్డ్ అండ్ రిమైనింగ్ బంగ్లాదేశ్ అండ్ పాకిస్తాన్ ఇవన్నీ ఏరైపోయింది. ఇది మొత్తం మన రిలీజియస్ బేసిస్ మీదనే అయింది. దిస్ ఇన్కంప్లీట్ పార్టీషన్ షుడ్ బి అడ్రెస్డ్ నౌ అండ్ దట్ ఈస్ ఓన్లీ పాసిబుల్ విత్ అవర్ మోదీజీ అండ్ బీజేపీ, భారతీయ జనతా పార్టీ. అండ్ ఇంకోటి ఒక యాంటీ కమ్యూనల్ బిల్ అప్పుడు గతంలో 1990s అది పాస్ అయ్యేది, కానీ మన బీజేపీ అది బిల్ పాస్ కానివ్వలేదు. దానికి మనము బీజేపీ చాలా మనకు మన దేశంకి ఎంత ఇంపార్టెంట్ అనేది అందరు ప్రజలందరూ తెలుసుకోవాలి. సో ఐ వుడ్ లైక్ టు రిక్వెస్ట్ మిస్టర్ డాక్టర్ సహస్రబుద్ధేజీ టు హ్యావ్ అండ్ అడ్రస్ హిస్ వ్యూస్. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. రాహుల్ గాంధీ గారు మళ్ళీ మోదీ వస్తే రిజర్వేషన్స్ తీసేస్తా అన్నారు. రిజర్వేషన్ పెట్టింది ఈ ఎకనామికలీ బ్యాక్వర్డ్ రిజర్వేషన్స్ పెట్టిందే బీజేపీ. మోదీ గారు తర్వాత రాజ్యాంగాన్ని మారుస్తున్నారు. రాజ్యాంగాన్ని ఇప్పటికి ఎన్నిసార్లు మార్చిందో కాంగ్రెస్ పార్టీ మనం గుర్తుంచుకోవాలి. అట్లాగే సెక్యులర్ పదాన్ని అందరినీ జైల్లో పెట్టి సెక్యులర్ పదాన్ని జోడించింది కాంగ్రెస్ పార్టీ. రాజ్యాంగాన్ని మార్చింది, ప్రతిసారి కూడా రాజ్యాంగాన్ని మార్చింది కాంగ్రెస్ పార్టీ. బీజేపీ మీద ఈరోజు రిజర్వేషన్స్ ఎత్తేస్తా అని చెప్పి ఇన్ని రోజులు కాంగ్రెస్ పార్టీ కాశ్మీర్లో 375 ఆర్టికల్ ఉన్న రోజులు ఎవరికి కూడా రిజర్వేషన్స్ అందలేదు. కాబట్టి రాజ్యాంగాన్ని మారుస్తారని చెప్పి ప్రజల్ని మభ్యపూరుస్తున్నారు. ఈ చెప్పుడు మాటలు, ఇది దుష్ప్రచారం చేసి పవర్లోకి రావాలని చెప్పి కాంగ్రెస్ పార్టీ ప్రయత్నం చేస్తుంది. కాబట్టి మనం అందరం కూడా గుర్తుంచుకోవాలి, దానికి సరైన సమాధానం చెప్పాలి. ఇక్కడంతా కూడా బుద్ధిజీవులు ఉన్నాము. మనం అందరం కూడా ప్రతి ఒక్కరికి కూడా ఎలైట్ చేసి బీజేపీకి ఎందుకు ఓటేయాలని చెప్పాలని చెప్పి, తర్వాత మనం అందరం కూడా ఆ పోలింగ్ డే రోజు చాలామంది ఇంట్లో ఉండిపోతారు హాలిడే వచ్చిందని, వారిని అందరం కూడా మనం ప్రతి ఒక్కరిని పోలింగ్ స్టేషన్కి పొద్దున్నే పంపించాలని చెప్పి రిక్వెస్ట్ చేస్తున్నాము. నౌ ఐ రిక్వెస్ట్ సుధాకర్ గండే గారు, బ్యాంకర్, ఇండస్ట్రియలిస్ట్ అండ్ ఎంటర్ప్రీనర్, ప్లీజ్ అడ్రస్.
Respected Dr. Vinay Sahasrabudhe Garu, Ramchandra Garu, respected gentlemen on the audience, on the dais, and everybody in the audience, ladies and gentlemen. I only take 2 minutes. Only one point I want to highlight, because all of you are intellectuals, so most of the things, political, all those things you are aware. Only one on technology, finance, I will address only one issue. That is Modi Garu in last 10 years, the initiative you have done on UPI, digital infrastructure. UPI, Jandan, Atmanirbhar, all these integrated, basically what he has done is marrying finance with technology and delivering to the people in India. We are able to open 55 crore bank accounts, Jandan accounts, and 50 crores plus Yojana, that Bima, that insurance thing, okay, which would have never been possible but for the integration of technology and finance. And one thing I want to bring to all your notice is Indians, even at the lowest level, Indians are very good on technology adoption and also using technology. Just to give an example, in Kafir, where I used to live earlier, there's a guy who was selling mangoes. Earlier used to come 3 times to bring a mango, show you everything. 3rd time the deal happens. Now we just send a mobile saying, sir, Ratnagiri arrived. 1 dozen is so much. So immediately I react through Paytm, okay, send me 2 dozen Ratnagiris to my house. So this is a simple example. All that I want to say, this technological finance integration delivering onto the Indians is not a small thing. Entire world respects this. And to the extent, Modi Garu, whenever he went to US, he made sure he met the CEOs of top technology companies, whether Microsoft, Google, Adobe, etc. So all of them today, a part of this whole system, technology revolution in India. So now nobody can stop India, even God wants, they can't. All that important is next 5 years, we need a 15 years ideally, because if you have the same GDP of 8-9%, 7 to 9%, in 15 years we will be almost hitting very, very close to China. So that's extremely important, but next 5 years is most important. All the initiatives done, which will come to the final stages. So I request all of you to support Modi's government, vote and may influence everybody. If you can influence 100 per head, we have 300, 400 people here. We are talking about a few lakhs. That makes huge difference to various constituencies. My sincere request is please do that. Use your mobile, use your phone, talk to people. Make sure everybody votes and votes for BJP. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Please switch off your mobiles or keep in silent mode, sir. Our chief guest will address the meeting. తర్వాత క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్సర్స్ కూడా ఉంటాయి. ముందు మనం అందరం కూడా వారిని ఐ రిక్వెస్ట్ అవర్ చీఫ్ గెస్ట్ శ్రీ వినయ్ సహస్రబుద్ధజీ టు అడ్రస్ ద గ్యాదరింగ్. ప్లీజ్ సార్.
My very old friend, colleague, N. Ramachandra Rao Garu, all other very key personalities in the field of law, medicine, even information technology, industry, trade, who are gracing the dais today, and members of the intelligentsia from this wonderful city of Bhagyanagar, Hyderabad, as what we know today. Ladies and gentlemen, I must thank the organizers at the outset for having me here and giving me an opportunity to have a dialogue with you. It is indeed very important because generally it so happens that members of the intelligentsia or the opinion makers, and these days fashionably they are also referred to as chatterati of the cities. So they definitely are influencers in their own way. But many times it so happens that political parties do not have any mechanism to have some kind of a conversation with them. And then at some point of time, people like you also feel that perhaps we are being taken for granted. And in a democratic process, nobody should take anybody for granted. Because we are all very honorable, respected citizens of India. You have your own view, your own opinion. And in a democracy, we should be respecting all the opinions. But at the same time, it is our duty to understand as to what kind of stakes are involved in this particular general election for which we and you all would be voting in another 2-3 days. So in that context, I was here and to explain as to how India looks like at the threshold of what our dear Prime Minister has described as Amruta Kal. And not just as a citizen, but also as a student of political science, I believe there are at least 4 or 5 important aspects of what has gone behind during the last complete decade. In a way, it's a watershed moment. India before 2014 and India after 2014 has been very, very different. Drastic changes have happened. But when we get accustomed to those changes, chances are that we don't realize the importance of those changes which are now a part of our day-to-day life. And therefore it is very educative, it is very enlightening to recall those changes that have happened and then to ponder over as to how we can continue this process of transformation for many more years ahead. So there are at least, as I said, 4 important points. Firstly, during the last 10 years, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, we have been taught how to think differently and, more importantly, how to think big, how to aspire high. Because low aim, as they say, is always a crime. One has to think big, and in these days of innovations, when out-of-the-box thinking has become of paramount importance, we have to think differently as well. We have to shed stereotypes. And when I look back, I find a whole new addition to the governance lexicon in our country that has happened thanks to the creative thinking of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Let's take the example of, and there are many people from the medical fraternity over here. It was a tradition. We used to call those unfortunate members of our society who are handicapped as handicapped. और in Hindi हम कहते थे कि ये अपाहिज है, मराठी में हम कहते थे ये अपंग है. मतलब उसके अंदर की जो कमी है उसके ऊपर हम बल देते थे. That shortcoming which is not his making at the time of birth or maybe due to some accident or whatever, the person is lacking in certain natural prowesses. इसलिए हम बोलते थे that the person is a handicapped. And during the last 10 years, we now refer to such unfortunate brethren in our society as Divyang. Now, this is not just a change in the term. This is a transformation in the outlook, in the approach. And it's a fact. हम जानते हैं कि किसी को अगर आंखों की समस्या है, अच्छा दिखता नहीं या दिखता ही नहीं, तो उसके पास भगवान ऐसी कुछ गुण संपदा देता है कि वो अच्छा गाता है, अच्छा लिखता है, कुछ न कुछ उसमें दिव्यता होती है. कोई अगर हियरिंग इम्पेयर्ड है तो उसकी ड्राइंग बड़ी अच्छी होती है. एंड दिस इज ए पार्ट ऑफ आवर कॉमन एक्सपीरियंस. So instead of referring to the individual with the kind of shortcoming that he or she may be having, why should we not recognize the kind of additional qualities that he or she is possessing, and therefore let's call him or her Divyang. A very humane approach, sensitive to the individual, sensitive to those who are deprived. And not just this. In the government lexicon, right since perhaps P.V. Narasimha Rao Garu's days or even before, districts in our country which are most backward, they were referred to as most backward districts, MBDs typically. During the last 10 years, the government decided not to refer to them as MBDs, but let us call them as aspirational districts. What a wonderful change. Because they are the aspirational districts. Simply because they are in some remote corner of some state, like for example in Maharashtra, Nandurbar or Gadchiroli. I'm sure in Telangana also there might be some MBDs. Simply because they are located in a particular remote corner and the fruits of development didn't reach up to them, no fault of theirs. Are we going to refer to them as most backward? Instead, have a more positive approach and call them as aspirational districts. And let me tell you, this is not just a change in the terminology. There is a whole mechanism that works for these aspirational districts. For example, in Nandurbar or in Gadchiroli, the district collector possesses additional funds for the development. There are additional weightages that are given in the implementation of various welfare programs. But over and above all these things, during the Modi regime, the government decided to appoint one guardian officer sitting there in Delhi. He might be a joint secretary in the Ministry of Commerce. He might be an additional secretary in the Ministry of Steel and Mines, wherever. But this is an additional responsibility which he or she has to shoulder, and he has to become the guardian of that particular district. This has an electrifying impact because many times the movement of files stop at certain level, because from Nandurbar or Gadchiroli or wherever, you cannot follow it up on day-to-day basis. So the guardian officer is supposed to follow it up and ensure that the fruits of development reach to that once upon a time most backward district. Something very, very remarkable. Likewise, Prime Minister Modi also said, and then it is now being implemented. You know, we have this area of, districts in the borders of our country, whether it is Badmer or Jaisalmer or Poonch or Rajouri, or in Arunachal, there is a district called Zero, which is right next to the India-China border. So the village that is kind of working as the first line of defense in our border, at our border, and they are facing all kinds of hardships also being a border village, they were also referred to as the last village. And the new approach in the government reflected in the change of the nomenclature. Now it is called the first village of India. So these are the significant changes which compel us to take a different outlook, to think differently. But this is not just about, as I said, terminologies. It is also about the mantra that is given. Atmanirbhar Bharat. What a wonderful concept. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi ignited our imagination at that point of time when we all were facing the COVID-19 challenge. And it is not something which is new that I am telling you, that due to this Atmanirbharata, due to this emphasis on becoming self-reliant, India could produce vaccine not only for its own people, but also could provide vaccine to many countries. As many as 160 countries were benefited thanks to Indian scientists. So we all have been a part of this process when our dear Bharat Mata was creating a history. And if this has to continue, we have to appreciate the change in the outlook that has happened. PM Modi, when he first started his campaign in 2014, the simple slogan he gave was, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. And see how the progressive unfoldment has happened. At an appropriate time in 2019, when the mandate was renewed, he said, now we have to move a step further and talk about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas. But he has been repeatedly telling us that development, national development, cannot just be a government program, some XYZ department coming out with some development schemes. And development cannot remain only in that sphere. Development, he tells us, has to become a national movement. And therefore, about 3 years before, addressing the nation during the Independence Day, he said, now it is high time we also realize that it is sabka prayas. Everybody has to contribute. ऊपर में सरकार बैठी है, वही सब करेगी, हम तो हाथ पे हाथ धरे बैठेंगे, ये नहीं चलेगा. सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और सबका प्रयास। मैं मानता हूं कि जनता को इस तरीके से एजुकेट करने वाला, इसके पहले भी प्रधानमंत्री काफी सारे देखे हमने। एक प्रधानमंत्री जी थे, उन्होंने कहा कि मेरा